What's going on? What's up, people? It's the Black Quarterback Forum, the BQF, and Black Quarterback Forum YouTube channel and BlackQBsInEffect.com website, where we talk about black quarterbacks that play and performance every week. My man Smeez.
What up? Hopefully, all had a marvelous day today.
Marvelous. There you go.
A marvelous day.
A marvelous day. So this episode, what are we in week 5 plus?
Week 5
plus the 3-4 previous episodes during preseason. This episode 9.
Episode 9, week 5 of the regular season.
And the regular season heating up. They all know how we do it here. We do talk about the whole NFL in general. We get that out the way. Then we focus on our black QBs, go in a little bit detail about their play and performance each week. So my man got the AFC and I cover the NFC quarterbacks. So with that being said, let's get to it. So just the NFL in general, like I said, we use everybody's name. We just talk about things in general for a moment, okay? So one of the things that caught my eye after the Chiefs-Jets game was, I guess, what Rodney Harrison said about the Jets quarterback, that he called him garbage. You know, I've never been a big Rodney Harrison fan when he played or as a person. I just think he got to have a little bit more tact. So we can call him garbage. Ain't nobody watching the show. We ain't got no national platform.
Yeah.
But when you're on national TV, I just don't think you call the boy garbage like that. So
I mean, to play in the NFL, at the end of the day, you got talent. Some form of talent. Anybody playing flag football, semi-pro, anything like that, you'd love to have Zach Wilson as your quarterback. You'd be dying to have him as your quarterback on your team. So, I mean, at the end of the day, to make the league, I get it. You made the league. He got credentials, Marvin Harrison. Right. Same token, I'm not really keen on dirty players. The game's so dangerous in itself. No need for dirty plays, dirty shots. So I kind of don't respect players like that who have that personality or aura about themselves, you know, taking dirty, cheap shots, you know. But Patriots, they known for that. McAdoo, Mac Jones, Macaroni, Tony, whatever you want to call Mac Jones, he got that issue right now. Even some of the players in the locker room came up and was like, hey, bro, you got to stop that dirty shit. Like, we ain't with that.
Mac Jones? Where's Mac Jones? Yeah. Dirty?
He's to Sauce Gardner, try to kick him, try to, you know, Brady, try to kick Ed Reed. Like, that's what you do. You know what I mean? Lack of character.
Hatred-Raven relationship.
Yeah, a little bit still runs deep. Cost us many Super Bowls. Cheating and shit.
Belichick good at it, huh?
He's the best.
He's the best.
He's the best.
Great. So, also another thing the NFL is trying to do, I feel like personally, I forgot to explain. I got me a Seattle Seahawks jersey on. I always give a little brief explanation. I'm trying to support Geno because they was trying to hurt him, the Giants. They was just playing rough ball with him.
They did.
But this jersey got my own name on it. There was a cat named Will Herring. He played, drafted by the Seahawks, old school linebacker, white guy. But he played for the Seahawks, the Rams, and one other team, Saints. So I got all 3 of his jerseys. And, of course, I got my Herring jerseys from Kim Herring.
Baltimore.
When he played with the Ravens. So, but anyway, that's why I'm wearing, because the Giants are trying to get all that Geno. He hurt them. He still hurt them. But anyway, with the Jets, they still trying to keep the Aaron Rodgers hope alive. I just don't get it. Like, he ain't coming back. If he come back this season, he's Superman. Is his Achilles better than everybody else's?
He's taking that spray like Ray took.
Hey,
he's taking that spray.
I know they got all this high-tech stuff out there, and maybe he went to, you know, some place and they replaced it with something. But no, but seriously, I don't think he's coming back, right? Is he coming back?
I don't think so.
Yeah, sorry. But to me, what it creates is like for young Zach Wilson, when I was watching the game, the replay, and you know, Chris Collinsworth at one point said, well, if that was Aaron Rodgers, it probably would have been a touchdown. I'm like, well, man, come on, man. They're going to do that all season long? Yeah. That's going to be their excuse, huh?
And it was Tom Brady. You probably get that fourth quarter drive into a touchdown, which we don't see. Like my man Fields, 4th interception. Like, you get a touchdown.
We don't get
woulda, coulda, shoulda. If was a fit, we all be drunk.
We get to Justin and the Bears. Bad. Oh, man, he's playing his best game. But another big thing, obviously, this week coming up with the Cowboys and Niners play. Dak versus the Niners. To me, like I was telling my man Smeez before the video, it's all about the Cowboys beating the Niners. Otherwise, they're in their head. It's a mental thing. If they go out there and they can't beat them, how can you beat them in the playoffs? Because any slip-up you have, right, you could be down 7-0. You turn the ball over, they go up 14-0. You're like, oh, my God, here we go. You know,
that doubt starts creeping in. That's all you need is that doubt to make you not see the eye on the prize, which is the dub at the end of the game. Once that doubt creeps in, you're going against them plus the doubt, 2 against 1. Most people not going to win a 2 against 1 fight.
Right, that's what my man was saying on one of the shows I like. So I feel the same way. To me, they just got to beat them. That's it. So,
but the thing about it is, it's almost a catch-22. This is a double-edged sword here.
Okay.
The hardest thing to do, they say in football, is to beat a team twice. So at this point, do you want to lose this game? So when you see them in the playoffs, you get the win?
It's not guaranteed they will see them in the playoffs, but most likely they will.
I mean,
but I think you want to win regardless. You need to know you can beat them going into the playoffs.
I agree.
You got to feel
you got to get the win
right on their turf.
This weekend, you got to get the win
in their house.
Feel some confidence.
Right, but you got to do it in their house.
The last time the Cowboys beat the 49ers was 1997 or some shit with the triplets. You know what I'm saying? That might have been the last time.
I was a real Cowboy fan back then. I mean, he was
still are.
This guy's funny. He got jokes. But
my take on that, the Niners, Cowboys, it's going to come down to coaching. Because one thing is efficiency with the coaching. The head coach took over the play calling. The Cowboys haven't seemed to be as efficient offensively as they were in the past with the old play caller from the Chargers. And we'll go into that a little bit later, how things play out and things like that. But my thing is coaching matters. A lot of people don't think about coaching, but coaching matters. I'm going to give you 3 scenarios this past weekend where coaching matters. The Chargers coach, defensive head coach. My perspective is at this point in the NFL, unless you're a superstar, bona fide defensive coordinator doing things, do you really want a defensive coach as your head coach? With the offense, with everything, numbers, analytics, everything moving to offense is the way to go. Do you really want that defensive coordinator? San Diego, they continuously go for it on 4th down, cost themselves situations. Last week they went for it on 4th down, did a QB dive with a quarterback with a broken hand, broken finger.
Crazy.
Like, how do you even make that call? Another coaching blunder, Chicago. Defensive-minded coach. Crazy situation. You definitely got to kick that field goal. I know y'all have heard it on everywhere else, but in football, you got to kick that field goal. Give your team some momentum, some energy. And the crazy thing about it is that defense held them, the Broncos, to a field goal.
Right.
So had you kicked the field goal, it'd be overtime. What we all know is Justin Fields not taking that team down 3 to get a field goal or a touchdown. But had you kicked that field goal and not went for it, now it would have been overtime. Again, a better team generally wins in overtime. You really don't want to go to overtime. But at the end of the day, you're a defensive-minded head coach. Put the onus on you and your defense. But the Bears, again, one of the worst defenses in football. Why is this coach still coaching the Bears? This is last season. It's over with for him. New management, new GM, over with. And it's going to be over with for Fields too, unfortunately. All of us over with at the end of the season. The third thing, this hurts my heart. Hurts my heart because I had New Orleans winning. Again, coaching. Derek Carr, hurt shoulder. Should he even been playing? Same situation, Cleveland Browns. Deshaun Watson cleared medically, but did not get the start. To save him for the bye week, to let him heal up and see what happens. Instead, New Orleans, hey, we're going to go to Derek Carr. Derek Carr numbers on the day, he completed 23 passes out of 37 for 127 yards. How do you complete 23 passes for 127 yards? What that tells me as a defensive coordinator, as the opposing team, brother can't throw the ball down the field. So we ain't got to worry about it. Score reflected as well because they got scraped, unfortunately. And they finna let Baker go on and win this division. Y'all know how much faith I had on the Saints. Saints going to the Super Bowl was my prediction. Terrible. Alvin Kamara, 13 catches. How does Alvin Kamara have 13 catches? with that receiving talent, and what he did with the 13 catches was 33 yards.
Wow.
33 yards on 13 catches. That further lets me know you can't throw the ball down the field, so I'm going to bring everybody into the box.
That was my point I talked to you about earlier about the running backs. I'm going to tell you they have a couple of hot years.
Yeah. I don't even put that on Alvin Kamara. I put it on like Derek Carr couldn't throw the ball past 5 yards because of his shoulder, so he shouldn't have been starting. Give your team a chance to win. Offensively, they had no chance. They knew you couldn't throw it. You start bringing in the defense, smothering everything, and you got no other option. At what point then you try to get Tyson Hill in there, throw a couple passes, then you try trickery shit? That's not going to work in the NFL. Not going to work when you're trying to figure out some trickery to try to get something going.
Right.
That generally doesn't work. Now, if you rocking and rolling, Andy Reid style, Belichick style, trickery works when you rocking and rolling because we got to worry about this, and this. Now you can do some trickery. But when I know your quarterback can't throw 5 yards down the field because his shoulder fucked up, it's over with. Over with. And at the end of the day, again, this is where it's coaching. Good, bad, indifferent. Cleveland decided to sit Deshaun Watson. Same thing, shoulder injury, throwing shoulder. Medically cleared to play. Cleveland said, we're going to wait. We got a bye coming up. Is that good coaching, bad coaching?
That's smart coaching.
We'll figure it out.
Sacrifice the game.
I mean, consider now the quarterback, the young man, who I have faith for. We'll talk about it a little bit later. But I said it 4 videos ago. At what point do we start talking about a QB switch in Cleveland? But we'll talk about it a little bit later.
He ain't going to take over the spot from him. So we'll see. That's where me and him kind of disagree.
We'll see.
Big time, but we'll see.
We'll see.
We'll see. I got faith in Deshaun. He doesn't. I'm just telling you. We'll see.
The same people think it's going to be there going to be 5 years from now. Deshaun,
no.
How long we going to be removed?
No, I just need to see this year. If it don't happen this year, it ain't going to happen. It ain't. Because he's a veteran. He knows what it takes to win. So
we should be up to par. You got 2 years now. You got a healthy scratch season not playing, a season suspended, played last year. That's 3 years.
No, not 4. He only played a couple games last year.
But that's 3 years. You in the meeting rooms, you in the practices,
you in the give him a full season this season.
We're not talking about a rookie.
No, I know. But we'll still.
I say he had 3 and it don't look good. So I guess maybe we got to give him 4.
Yeah, well,
then them same naysayers gonna be like, let's give him 5.
No, not talking about
how many we take? 6?
Whatever the contract is for.
I mean, the contract gonna be the contract. As you see, Gregory got cut today from the Broncos.
Gregory?
Yeah, cut.
They not cut Deshaun Watson. Okay, so we'll see what happens with Deshaun. There's a couple other things. I just like Jordan Love as a young quarterback. So obviously he didn't have a good game against the Lions. Speaking of coaching, his coach did not set him up for success. They threw like 17, 18 times out the gate to start the game. Okay, horrible. I mean, come on, you just don't do that, young quarterback.
Defensive front, that's not a good formation.
Right, the Lions seem to be amped up, and they just seem to be one step ahead of Green Bay that night. It was like the pass plays, the receivers, the DBs for the Lions was like one step ahead of them, knocking the ball down before they even got a chance to get it. And so I just thought that was like, okay, he's going to have a bad game. First year starting, so.
But I feel like, again, kind of not to circle back to coaching matters. Mm-hmm. The Lions understood that game might have been the division.
Right, they did.
That game might have been the division.
Right, and Campbell, yeah.
Campbell had them prepared.
Right, they were.
For that game.
They were.
Where Green Bay didn't. Green Bay took that game as, hey, nobody expects anything, so who cares?
Right.
Campbell took that game as, this is our division, especially with how bad Minnesota playing now. Right. They kind of took themselves out. This is our division. Let's capitalize it. We not the purring Lions. No. We the roaring Lions.
He gave one of them.
We the roaring Lions.
He gave one of them pregame speeches. And this our division. Oregon, huh?
Yeah.
He gave
this our division, and we need to go win it in this game today.
Right. The Jordan Love story stops tonight, people. It stops tonight.
Jordan Love looked like Manziel in that moment. He looked like Manziel out there.
It wasn't looking good.
He did not look good.
So we'll see what happens next week. He's going to be up under the Monday night lights against the Raiders. So we'll see. Another thing,
I like Green Bay in that game.
Yeah, me too. The internet says about 50-something%. Okay, if you check the links at ESPN, I just say the internet. Hell,
McDaniels lost the coaching. McDaniels lost that locker room. It's over with. Trade everybody. Hopefully you get a better GM, get the draft picks. Y'all had a bunch of draft picks 2 years ago, did nothing with them. So hopefully reset. Y'all do something better with those draft picks. But at Raiders is over with. Season over.
one other thing, NFL, you're gonna have bad calls, good calls, right? In the last couple of weeks, well, just this past
That's the
weekend.
same call, depending on what side that you are on the call. That's a good call. That's a bad call, depending on which way the call goes.
That's what I mean. So, like in the Jets versus the Chiefs, where that pass interference was
I don't think that was pass interference.
good call, bad call.
I mean, you're going to call that pass interference. How do you not call Zay Flowers getting tackled before the ball there? Pass interference, not pass interference. Like,
So they need to go to ref school, okay, and get consistent. So that's all I'm saying. Everybody got to deal with it.
Call.
Right, everybody got to deal with it. So it's going to happen throughout the season. So I don't want people complaining. Everybody going to deal with it. But when it's late in games, it is crucial. I get it. So
my thing is, and I firmly believe this, no game comes down to one call either way, one play either way. You got 4 quarters. You know, a lot of people don't think something that may happen early in the game could affect the later game. Like, I feel like all of that comes into play. And at the end of the day, as a team, you don't want to put yourself in that situation to where that call could make or break you, period, point blank. Like, so
Right.
My thing is, I'm not going to get too – that's why I like Harbaugh's approach. With those bad calls, we know what those was. You make any of those calls, we beat the Colts, we undefeated. We right now #1 in the ESPN power rankings, everybody power rankings. But Harbaugh said, hey, we're just going to send the tape into the league so everybody can get better. We move on to next week. Nobody wins the Super Bowl in week 3.
or 4 or 5.
Or 4, 5, 6, 7. You win the Super Bowl the last game of the season because you did enough what it takes, nutrition, attrition, to get there, and you win the game that matters, which is the last game of the season, and that's the Super Bowl. But everything up to that is growing pains, learning moments. So at the end of the day, just don't put yourself in that situation where that you need that last call to go either way.
Good call, bad call, because you could be on. It could be a bad call. that's a good call for the other
Bunch of
team.
bad calls last week against the Colts and Raiders. But what can you do?
And one other thing I just noticed, excuse me, was the average number of possessions that a team gets is around 5 per half. So I'm stuck on these efficient offenses, efficient teams. They're gonna score for 90% of their possessions, right? 4 out of 5, 5 out of 6. And I just jotted down a couple examples. Buffalo, 6 possessions in the first half. They scored on 5 of them, 4 TDs and 1 field goal, and they ended the half. So, I mean, like 49. 4 possessions. They scored TDs on first 3, ended the half of the 4th possession. In the Lions, 7 possessions. They came out, golfed through the INT on the first possession. Then after that, the next 6 possessions, they scored TD, field goal, TD, punt, field goal. I mean, where was the defense?
But a lot of that too, field position. I think the Lions' average starting position in that first half was the Green Bay 30-yard line. Like, telling me it's 30 yards.
They was doing what they supposed to do.
Exactly. At the end of the day, you got to do what you got to do.
Texans, 6 possessions, TD, field goal, stopped on downs, punt, field goal. All these teams had 30-plus points. I'm just saying, to me, the NFL set up, and the Ravens are very efficient too. I didn't even look deeply at them because it's just one of my things. If they score and win, I'm good with the Ravens. I just think a good team can score 7 points a quarter. That shouldn't be that difficult to me. That's 28 points a game at minimum.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And all these teams had 30-plus. So,
but you'd be surprised. There's bets out there on these betting websites where a team has scored touchdown per quarter, and that bet hardly ever hits. Hardly ever hits. For real.
Because sometimes they do skip a quarter and then score 2.
Yeah.
But I get you.
Again, there's factors in play. You start the quarter here.
Right, exactly.
In the quarter, like we talked about last week. You got a lot of those. But kind of follow that up in regards to the efficiency. Like, most touchdowns are like every now and again you might get a touchdown, 20 plus yards, 25 yards, 50 yards, 40 yards, whatever the case may be. But for the most part, you're going to get right inside that red zone. And this is where efficiency comes into play. When you get there to cash money, as we talked about with Detroit, they constantly were starting in the 30. Detroit, if you make them go to field, they only 53% efficiency to score a touchdown if they get in the red zone. But again, you think that's coming from the 30, the 20. You got to get 60 yards, 70 yards. But if you give a team, I need 30 yards, they're going to get that. And then when they get into the red zone, again, Detroit's 53% scoring touchdowns in the red zone.
Who's the top dog in the red zone?
The top dog in the red zone, Baltimore.
Who's the bottom dog in the red zone?
The bottom dog in the red zone is surprisingly, New Orleans Saints.
Who's the second? Who's bringing up
the second is Houston, and then which is tough. Houston's second.
What you know? Team looking for? Where they rank?
You're looking for the Cowboys. The Cowboys is ranked third. 36% efficiency if they get into the red zone.
What number out of 32 is that, though?
That would be number exactly 30. And what that leads me to believe is there's no way the Cowboys can win the Super Bowl, go deep in the playoffs. What that tells me is you waste a lot of plays, moving a lot of yards, getting there, and then you run out of what to do
when you get there.
The crazy thing about it is the Dallas Cowboys have a new offensive coordinator. The Chargers, late game blunders, late this, late that, call it what you want. The Chargers are fifth in the NFL in red zone efficiency. 68%, 68.75 to be exact, with Dallas's old OC. Dallas OC is gone, and now Dallas is 36.84 in the red zone.
That's a perfect example of coaching matters.
Coaching matters. Coaching matters at all levels. Wide receiver coach, O-line coach, offensive coordinator, pass game coordinator, run game coordinator, defensive run game coordinator, all of that matters. Strength and conditioning, nutrition, all of that matters. You got to have it all lined up perfectly for the NFL. All the stars got to be aligned for that Super Bowl. Because again, as we talked a few videos back, there's not many Super Bowl winners. What was it, like 12, 15, like 20, 25 oddball quarterbacks that won the Super Bowl outside of repeat quarterbacks who won the Super Bowl?
Yeah, it's not like us. No, you do need everything lined up. So
it has to be. And the Bengals, they over with. They had their perfect season, didn't capitalize. Now they 1-4, getting scraped, 3 points. What did they score? 3 points last week? You got Joe Burrow, Chase, Higgins, all this offense, throwing the ball everywhere. 3 points. 3 points.
I didn't even want to bring them up, but yeah, they suspect highly.
I almost like the Cardinals this week against the Bengals.
You know what? Oh, we didn't get it right. That was one of the things.
And you won that bet with the Cardinals. When I said Carolina gonna win a game before.
The Cardinals can't effectively end the Cincinnati Bengals season if they.
It's over. That season over.
Oh yeah. So I'm pulling.
Just because you 1-4, or 1-3, don't mean that 0-3 makes a difference.
Right. So
it's over. It's over with.
So one last thing before we get into our stats for the black quarterbacks. We just do this together as far as black quarterbacks rising, falling, and staying the same. So as we look at it, C.J. Stroud rising, Richardson, Lamar, and Dobbs.
And my thing is with Dobbs, why Dobbs is rising. Like, would I go out tomorrow and sign Dobbs, max contract, quarterback franchise of the year? No. But Dobbs was looked at so terrible.
Right.
Terrible. And to the point that there's not been a game that the Cardinals have not been. Even the 49ers, that game was tough, but they were battling, scraping. Like, they didn't put up 3 points like Joe Burrow.
Right.
They didn't put up 3, and that's against the Niners, supposedly number one team in football. They didn't put up 3 points.
Right.
Didn't put up 3 points. So, to me, that's why you got to put Dobbs on the rise. To me, Dobbs is definitely a backup quarterback. I wouldn't build my team around him. I wouldn't. But if my quarterback goes down and I got to look at Dobbs to come in and maybe save the day, I got confidence in that.
Right. And this is just in respect to this season and week to week. So this is going to change, obviously. And we said falling, Fields, Russ, even though they won that game, this has been a struggle all season. Bryce Young just he. Speaking of don't throw the ball far, he don't throw the ball far either.
I mean, to me, like Bryce Young, I'm not convinced. I wasn't sold coming into it. But in the same token, what weapons do we have?
I know.
Got no running backs, no receivers. So that plays a part. But at the end of the day,
yeah,
like I just don't see it. I don't see it in the decision making. I don't see it in the numbers. I don't see it in. It's just like their closest shot was against Seattle, was a most competitive game, and that's when he didn't play. So that's automatically a bad strike on you.
Right.
Bad strike on
They
you.
play the Lions this week. That one could be ugly.
That's going to be a
But
strike.
then again, if they pulled out the dub in the Lions, that would be major.
That would be.
But
You might make it to the rise. You might make it to the rise.
That's that hope, people. That's that hope I'm telling you about the NFL. Because trust me, in Carolina, if you watch the news stories, they're telling you their team has a chance to win that game. That's the hope. That's all I'm saying. Right?
In 6 weeks, Carolina going to have a true decision. Them and Chicago going to be in the running for that number one pick. And does Carolina pull a Arizona Cardinals and draft another quarterback even after what you gave up?
Right. Well, we'll see.
We will.
And then staying the same, Geno Mahomes, Hurts, Tua, Love, and Dak. So, all right, there you go. So let me, I'll start it off this week with the QBs from the NFC. And, I'm just going to cover these ones. I hate to say it the way I said, but the losers, won't spend much time on the losers. When I get to my winners. We all like winners, right?
Winner, chicken dinner.
So Desmond Ritter, man, they didn't have a good game, man. They looked terrible in that game. So, I mean, he was 19 for 31, 191 yards, 6.2 average, 1 TD, 2 INTs. He was sacked 4 times for negative 31 yards. He had 2 runs, not much yardage. So, QBR 10.7. He had a rating of 62.7, really low. And I just looked at some of his drives. The first drive, it was 3 plays, 9 yards, 2 runs, 1 pass. That was what my note was. Second drive, 3 plays, 1 yard. Third drive, 6 plays, 6 yards. In the fourth drive, it looks like I think he had an INT. It wasn't a pick six, but it was just an INT. And on the 5th drive, 6 plays, 19 yards. I think that finished his first half, and they were done. So I mean,
it was over at that point.
Right, it was over. Now, our favorite guy to love and hate on, Justin Fields. He had his best day, right? He was having
his best professional day. Because
not
talking about the running, like he had some great days
but the
running.
Touchdown passes.
Yeah.
Because you would never say 4 touchdown passes with Justin Fields' name, right?
That should be a win.
Right.
I would never say. I'd be surprised at one.
When I was watching that game, I was like, oh, yeah, he got it. He going. They're going to do it. And then, later on, I was like, man, what? It's tied up. And then I watched the replay, and I saw how it got tied up. Did you see that play where, the fumble? I was like, ugh. But then, after that, we talked about the coaching. Yeah. They definitely should have kicked that field goal. I'm sure y'all haven't heard it all week. They definitely should have kicked the field goal. Would have made a big difference in the game. And, of course, y'all saw what happened. He throws the INT on the last series. But he was moving the ball. But then, again, you can't ask him to come back after y'all should have tied or been had the lead. It was just bad all around. So,
you got to expect that interception when you're down 3, 2 minutes left in the game. You think Fields going to take them down the field and get a field goal or a touchdown to win? No. That's just the DNA. Nothing tells you that's going to happen.
Right.
What tells me is you're probably going to throw an interception because you're going to have to throw, and we throw an interception.
Yeah, so felt bad for him. I was hoping he would get the win. But
on a side note, the thing about the Cowboys, or not the Cowboys, but the Bears, since they traded Roquan Smith,
an interesting stat here. He told me
the Chicago Bears are 0-16. Since the Roquan Smith trade. Since the Roquan Smith trade, the Ravens have the best defense in football. Look it up, fellas, if you don't believe me. Look it up. But Amazing thing. You don't want to give it to the defense, but you traded away your best defensive player. Just a little food for thought there with the Bears and the GM and the history of the Bears, and this is typical Bears stuff.
All right, so he got some interesting stats. So the next guy, Bryce Young, as we talked about, not good here. 25 for 32, 204 yards. But when you minus in the sacks, he was sacked 5 times for 55 yards. He's on 149 yards passing. 6.4 average, no TDs, no INTs. 17.4 on the QBR. The rating was 93.2. The game started with a pick 6 off Kirk Cousins for the Panthers. I mean, you can't start. The Vikings love to get the ball away this season. But then after that, they had the ball 4 times, and they got a field goal on the first drive. Second drive, 5 plays, 15 yards. Third drive, 3 plays, -1 yards. And that fourth drive, they got a field goal. That was the first half. Second half, absolutely terrible. 5 possessions, 3 punts, 1 fumble. Last drive ended in downs. As we talk about these possessions, you got to make the most of them.
There's going to be a nice trend on turnover on downs. There's going to be, as we talked about efficiency, we talked about a couple weeks previously, good offenses putting pressure on the other offense. You think as an offense, you're going against the defense. But sometimes you're going against that other team's offense. And you'll see a trend of a lot of turnover on downs because you're chasing points.
Yeah. And then one of my favorites, everybody was hating on this week, like I said, Jordan Love. So he was 23 for 36, 246 yards, 6.8 average, 1 TD, 2 INTs. He was sacked 5 times for 43 yards, very low QBR, 7, and rating 69.9. His worst game of the season to date. And so I'm not going to go into detail with all his drives. But like I said, in the very beginning, they just threw the ball so much. And I have it all listed here. A lot of incomplete passes, 3 and outs. It looked like Detroit, like you said, Detroit was ready. Like they took that game much more seriously than the Packers. And maybe the Packers will learn from that. And the next time they see them, they'll understand. So I think he'll bounce back and play good Monday night against the Raiders. So on to the victors of the NFC. Jalen Hurts and the Eagles. What was interesting to me about this game was it went back and forth. Whatever one team did, the other team did. If the Commanders scored, the Eagles scored. If they punted, they punted. They matched each other's possessions to the very last possession. I mean, I have all the possessions written down here, but no need to go into detail. Y'all know me. I'm more of a fan. Sometimes I just let the details go by, as long as they get the dub. Yeah. But that game, if you look at it play by play, in court, they went back and forth. And when the Commanders scored, they scored. If they punted, the Eagles punted. So, and that was interesting to me because that's how the NFL wants.
Yeah.
Whoever has the ball last. But in overtime, the Commanders did have a chance to win, but the Eagles stopped them, and then they took the ball down and kicked the field goal to win the game.
Yep.
So, I mean, that's the NFL to me. That's why I keep harping on these offenses. Like you said, why have a defensive-minded coach as your head coach? Get somebody that's offensive-minded that's going to move the ball, red zone efficient, put some points on the board. Because you know, I went over efficient offenses. He's talking about efficiency in the red zone. These teams are going to score on you. So, moving on, Lamar, like I said.
Marvelous.
Yeah. I don't even worry about him. I just look at the Ravens game, right? And I do check the stats. I'm like, okay, they're winning. Okay, Lamar, 2 touchdowns rushing, 2 touchdowns passing. So, you know, as long as the Ravens winning, I'm good. I don't even go into deep detail. My man Smeez, anything you want to know about the Ravens, just ask him. He'll tell you. The Marvels had a great game, right? They played, what was it supposed to be, the Browns?
The number 1 defensive football. Through 3 weeks, they was record set. Not an issue of Deshaun Watson not playing. It was Lamar against this record-setting defense.
Well, you know, in the second half, though, they did shut them down a couple times on drives. But Lamar came through towards on that 4th drive.
At that point, we was already up.
Yeah, they was already up. So it was,
we put up 20 yards in the first half.
Right, it was null and void. So like I said, y'all know, if y'all watch the videos, I love Lamar. It's probably one of my favorite. Other black QBs, it's just one of those things. You know, I loved them in college. So, but anyway, Dak Prescott. Well, he had another one of those games, right, where he didn't have to do much. 28 for 34, 261 yards, 7.7 average, 1 TD, no INTs. Was sacked 3 times, 28 yards. Rating was 108.5. Had 5 drives in the first half. Y'all saw that game. He had field goal, touchdown. Then they had a punt, field goal, and defensive touchdown in the first half. And Dak didn't really have to do much. But we talked about what Dak is facing next week in the 49ers. In the second half, they went on to dominate. You saw the game. Mac Jones, he's a dirty player.
Macaroni
Tony. So, dare I even say this? That you, coming from the East Coast where I lived and grew up, I don't feel sorry for the Patriots at all. Not one bit, okay? They used up all their credit with Tom Brady, okay? Out there, they might not never win another championship. The year 2000.
And they won them before. They ain't winning after.
So, and then I get to my man Geno. Like I said, the Seahawks. Nobody really liked Geno. One thing I found funny that Geno said this past week was they wrote him off, and he said, well, I didn't write back. So, Geno got hurt in that game, and then he threw a touchdown on one of his drive. What is drive? On his third drive, when that's off a fumble, turnover by the Giants. I mean, they punted the first 2 drives. It looks like the 5th drive. I don't think that was Geno who threw that touchdown pass, though. I think that was the backup. So, and then he came back in. I kind of stopped watching the game. Like, oh, Geno got hurt. But he came back and finished the game. All right? And so, started saying I'm wearing the jersey today because the Giants trying to put a hurt on him. But that's that from the NFC people. And my man Smeez got the AFC.
For the AFC, just to kind of recap, AFC had some interesting games. You had Tua, Buffalo. I feel like that was the biggest game of the weekend. That was a true Buffalo. A lot of people right now got Buffalo just steady climbing. But at the end, I'm not going to take away the win against the Dolphins. That is a big win at home. But technically, you did what you're supposed to do. But you beat the Raiders. You beat Washington. I'm not crowning Buffalo now because of what happened. But with Tua, 25 for 35, 282, 8 yards per pass. You would think, great day, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, 4 sacks, 31 yards. Tua doesn't really get sacked a lot. The good thing is the fumble, you know what I'm saying? He didn't fumble on those sacks, which is a big problem with Tua. When he gets hit, he tends to lose the ball. But it was kind of like reminiscent of last week. Last week, they just kind of boom, 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 boom to the Broncos. It was kind of the same thing on the flip side. First 2 possessions, touchdown, 14-0. This where it got hairy. Possession 3, 3 and out. Possession 4, 3 and out. Possession 5, fumble by the running back. No mark to Tua, but 3 plays fumble. Place series 6, 3 and out. So you got 14 points. You down a lot. Again, that crucial first series after the halftime, they did get a touchdown. Then Tua throws the interception. Then again, turnover on downs. So it seems like Miami offense really couldn't get going. The defense can't stop a nosebleed, which is going to be Miami's Achilles heel as they reach through the playoffs and get deeper in the season. That defense ain't up to snuff, but the offense is still stellar. I still got faith in them. I still feel like they're going to make it. I still take Miami to win the AFCs as my initial prediction was. Moving on, we got Russ. Russ in Denver. This is just a formality now going through this. How do you fall down 21 points to the Bears? Mm-hmm. TD first drive, 3 and out, 4 plays and out, 5 and out, into the first half. Come out, most important possession of the second half. No, 3 and out after halftime. Then the 6th drive to get a touchdown, 7th drive get a touchdown. Then they get that field goal to win the game at the 8th drive. But at the end of the day, Russ again, empty calories, 21 for 28, 223, 8 yards per pass, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, 1 sack, 9 yards. Overall QBR 33.2 with a rating of 133. But again, empty calories, because how do you fall down 21 points to the Bears? Somebody comment on that. Let me know how you Let me know how you fall down 21 points to this Chicago Bears team of this year, 2023-2024. Empty calories. You won the game. Everybody predicted Denver should win, but the way you won, you didn't earn cool points for that. Next game, we got DTR or DRT against the Bears. The interesting thing about this game against the Ravens, DTR against the Ravens. The interesting game about this game was Watson was cleared. As I mentioned earlier, Watson was cleared medically to play that game. Coaches decided not to play that game. DTR, 19 for 36, 121 yards, 3.4 yards per pass, no touchdowns, 3 interceptions, 4 sacks for 48 yards, 18.7 passer or QBR with a 25% rating. Wow. It's just, it kind of said it wasn't a good game to start. Yeah. Ravens feast on rookie quarterbacks. Just some of the interceptions wasn't necessarily his fault. One interception absolutely was. It was the inside dig, threw it way late. Defender tips it. Stevens gets the interception. That definitely was DTR's fault. Late pass, late decision. A couple of the other ones just, for the most part, running for his life. Now the Joker, question mark, Anthony Richardson. 11 for 25, 200 yards. 8 yards per pass, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, sacked 2 times for 4 yards, QBR 67, rating of 98.8, 10 rushes, 56 yards, better than most running backs right now in today's football, 5.6 yards per rush, 1 rushing TD. The thing about it is he went into halftime down. This is the one thing about Richardson. As they said, work in progress, pieces need a better line, but Anthony Richardson went in. They were down 20-0 at halftime.
He brought him back.
Second half, he was able to get them back in the field goal. Unfortunately, they didn't get a possession. Rams got it ball first right after the halftime or right at an OT, took it right down the field, scored a touchdown, game over. Yeah. But Anthony Richardson, to me, those are signs of winners, no quit. Everything could crumble. That could have easily been a 35-40-0 game. 40-3, 40-10. But again, he brought them back, made some plays, did some things. So again, Indianapolis, I feel like the future is bright. Richardson has some promise. The next thing is CJ Stroud with the Houston Texans.
Yeah, looking good.
CJ Stroud, man, this dude is playing. CJ Stroud is playing 16 for 30, 306 yards, 4th 303-yard game in a row.
Right, that's historic, people. No one's ever done that.
4 300 yards
the season
game in a row.
Right.
10.2 yards. 10.2 yards per pass. So he's putting it down the field. He's hanging in that pocket. Remember I said in the preseason, he's starting to hang in that pocket. He's hanging in that pocket. There's some good things going on down there in Houston. 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. CJ Stroud doesn't have an interception on the year. 4 games, no interception. And my man is chucking it 30, 40, 50 times a game.
Right.
So it ain't impressive. Slow throwing it 20, 22 times. Like he's throwing the ball. No, he's throwing the ball. And he's pushing it down the field and no interceptions. So with CJ Stroud, again, like I told y'all, if y'all get a chance to watch it, that is an exciting game. That defense is rocking and rolling. Offense is making some plays. Good young team to watch. Definitely, if you get a chance, check out the Houston Texans. CJ Stroud might look like the part. He's looking like the part right now. But again, longevity will tell it all. But as of right now, I'm debating on my Richardson best rookie quarterback. I almost say Stroud winning it right now. Richardson a close second. Young.
You gotta say you gotta say Stroud at this point.
I say Stroud number one right now. But Richardson gonna make it to the playoffs. That's gonna be the key. Richardson gonna make it to the playoffs, and that might give him that super trump.
They're in the same division, right?
They is in the same division. They is. And Richardson already beat him 1-0 against Stroud.
Okay.
1-0.
We don't like that battle.
Mahomes. My man Mahomes. He's just doing enough to survive to get there, and at the end of the day, that Kansas City is the true epitome of as long as we get the dub at the end of the game, that's all that matters. That is Kansas City.
I think I just feel like what the problem is with their team.
No receivers.
No, it's the tight end's girlfriend. She be at the games.
Oh man, she getting more play. I'm so sick of that. Getting more play than anything. Like, man.
Why all of a sudden that's his girlfriend now?
Don't mention her name because we might get cut off if you mention her name. You cannot mention like
her name.
Nothing negative. Nothing negative. You'll be cut off. You'll be banned. Don't say nothing negative.
Well, I'm just saying that's the problem. They need to ban her from the games.
They winning since she been there.
Well, okay.
I mean, also they playing trash teams.
Right.
Tomato. But Mahomes at the end of the day, 18 for 30, 203 yards, 6.8 yards per catch. The one thing about Mahomes, which I mean, I'd have to go check this, but I think this might be a first, where he had more interceptions than touchdowns.
Yeah, it's probably
more interceptions than touchdowns. 1 TD to 2 interceptions, 66.1 QBR with a 63% rating. He had surprisingly 7 rushes for 51 yards. He did have a fumble that they recovered. The one surprising factor, again, which lets me know that offense in Cleveland kind of, not that this Mayday, we're going down, but in the second half, they only managed to field goal in that entire second half.
You mean KC? Okay.
KC, oh my bad. KC only managed to field goal in that entire second half,
right?
Which allowed the Jets to come back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So the offense is just doing enough to get by.
Well, see, would they have played a better team?
A better offensive team, you'd be in trouble.
Right, they'd be in trouble big time.
You'd be in trouble.
Based on the efficiency that we just went over.
Yeah. And then to finish it up, my man Dobbs, I saved him for last with the Cardinals. 28 for 41. His stat line every week's kind of pristine. 28 for 41, 265, 6.5 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, 1 sack, 8 yards, 80% rating, 102 QBR. He did have a fumble, which they recovered. But again, that game, the Cardinals were real close in that game. Not that I ever thought that the Cardinals was going to win, but they're super competitive and it looks like they could have a chance. But when the stray was the last 2 possessions of the game, 2 turnover on downs. Remember we talked about the turnover on
Couldn't
downs?
they kick the field goal at one point?
I mean, you could, but would a field goal help you with the 49ers? You need 7. It's almost like against Brady. You can go down and Manning. You can go down and get field goal. Does that really help you when they get touchdown? Those field goals don't help. So now it's like, keep the kicker.
But at one point when it was 16-21, it would have been 16. It would have been 19-21. I mean, that's something positive.
Yeah, it is. But again, you got a 49ers team that's moving the ball, putting up 30, 66% efficiency. If they get in the red zone, they're going to get a touchdown.
Right.
But again, Arizona, 60% efficiency in the red zone. But they made that stop. The defense made that stop right at the end before you can get there. And kind of now we got to go for it on the 3rd, 4th and 4, 4th and 5. A little longer than we like, but we can't take that field goal. But Dobbs, again, he's proven he's going to be around this league for a while as a backup.
You think Kyler Murray's going to get a job back soon?
I mean, you got to start Kyler Murray over Dobbs, I feel like. Okay. You know what I mean?
Let's see how many games they won with Kyler Murray.
But I still feel like the Cardinals in the running for that number 1 pick.
Okay. Well, we're going to see, people. We're good.
Thank you again for tuning in this week. You know what I'm saying? So again, we love to see the comments, make some comments, give us some feedback, let us know what you think. It's always appreciated. Until next week, we'll have those updates and stats for you next week.
Yep. BQF, baby. Black Quarterback Forum. We'll get at you.